Hello and welcome to the first episode of Season 2. Woohoo! I am your host, Brenda, owner and editor of the Whet blog and all of the accompanying social media accounts. Today's episode is brought to you by, no one yet, but maybe soon. If you would like to become a podcast sponsor, message me at thewhetpalette@gmail.com. And this space can be yours to reach all of my fabulous food-obsessed listeners and followers. For now, I have the best sponsor in the house. With me today to kick things off is the host. He loves being a Whet sponsor, don't you, hon?
Oh, yeah.
Today we will be tackling some new restaurant reviews of places where we've dined during the last several months. I wasn't sure where to begin because we are so behind on these, but I held a poll on my Instagram stories, and these are the restaurants you voted for, and these received the most votes. We will be reviewing Brasserie Laurel, Eating House, QP Tapas, Rancho Patel, Beauty and the Butcher, and the Tambourine Room. All right, up first, Brasserie Laurel. I never know if to do it with the Spanish accent or not. This is a French-inspired Miami cuisine by the team from Ariete Hospitality Group and Chef Michael Beltran of Michelin-starred Ariete in Coconut Grove. The chef from here, Ashley Moncada, was the former CDC, the chef de cuisine at Ariete, and she got recruited to go lead this project, this ambitious project, I should say. I love the space. It has deep sapphire blues, golds. It's dark and moody. It has separate seating areas, which I like. Separate areas. There's booths. There's a whole area by the entrance with high top tables, and it has a very large outside area. It is in the, what is that area called? The Miami World Center, I think. And it's downstairs to a residential area, and it's one of those up and coming. I mean, that whole area has been up and coming, but finally now the construction, it looks like it's starting to move, and they are their first ones in. There's an open kitchen where you can watch all the action, and my favorite is watching it because they tend to be so methodical and meticulous with everything they do. And we have now been, well, I have been twice. You've been 3 or 4 times?
Counting friends and family?
Yeah.
3 times. One more time than you.
Okay. And
cancel the last
canceled
reservation.
One. You're gonna get in trouble.
I'm sure
for canceling.
Michael is, but
yeah. So, but this is one that's going to be on rotation, I think, for sure. I'm just gonna list some of the dishes that we had, some of the highlights, because there's so many dishes on that menu that I still need to try. But for now, there's the foie gras, of course. It comes with a cannelé and a local berry gastrique. It is sweet and rich and decadent. It's probably one of my top favorite foie gras right now. The escargot is served in a puff pastry nest of heaven, and then inside is the escargot. And also, I think not that I have to rank everything, but it's just in my nature. It's probably one of Miami's best, I think.
Oh, yeah.
And then I think out of the entrees, it's funny because a lot of times I like ordering like a salad or a lot of apps and then just go straight into dessert with maybe like we share 1 or 2 entrees. But here, there's what I call the trilogy. There's the pork chop. You cannot go wrong with any of these. The pork chop, the guinea fowl, and let me see if I could pronounce this right. The beef en croûte. Beef en croûte. It's a beef Wellington, basically. The pork chop is very wholesome. Has beans. You know what I want to do with that? I want to throw it over rice because it's what I always want to do. Throw everything over rice. It's the Cuban in me. The guinea fowl. You want to talk about that one? I know it's your absolute favorite. It'd
be hard to say that that's the best thing Michael's ever done or come up with.
I didn't say it was the best thing he's ever done.
Well, I've said it to him before,
okay.
But it's such a simple dish that he probably would be somewhat insulted from that because there's, from what I gather just by looking at it, there's very little creativity on it, but it's just the most incredible execution of any fowl that I've ever seen in my life. I mean, it is. I've had it all 3 times that I've gone. I've had it, and it's a dish for 2 people. and I will continue to have it. And if I have to bring half of it home,
Right.
so I can have it for lunch the next day or something, I will, because it is a stunning entree.
It is presented whole, table side, and then they take it and they slice and prep it for you, and then they return it. But it's delicate and tender,
It's one of the best
spectacular, right?
proteins I've ever had.
Yeah.
Anywhere.
And same thing with the beef Wellington. I think the execution on that is special. But I get what you say about the guinea fowl, because it's not something that you find in Miami often, I think. So I think it's definitely special to Laurel. I think we're going to go with Laurel for today instead of Laurel. It's the valet parking. You want to talk about that situation?
Yeah, when we first went, friends and family, there was no valet parking. Challenging area to find parking. I dropped you off and drove a few blocks. Might not be perceived as the safest neighborhood in the world, but whatever. It's just downtown Miami, no big deal to me. But the last 2 times we've gone, they've added valet parking. In fact, the last time I went without you was for a Heat game, Miami Heat game, and this restaurant is, I don't know, 500 feet from the arena, and it is an incredible spot to park
Not
your car.
500 feet from the arena.
It's a block and a half.
Really?
Yeah. There's some there because there's some residential towers in
That block
between.
it.
But you can walk through those. They've made some sidewalks, like right next to those buildings, and it's right there. It's like 2 minutes. And the last time we actually valet parked at Laurel, left the car there, went to the game, and walked back to the car and left from there, rather than do the whole Miami arena parking.
Don't give people our ideas, and now you're not going to find spots in the game.
That's a nice perk. I thought valet parking was much necessary, much like at Ariete. You sort of need that because it's a difficult area to find parking. Jeremy, if you're listening,
What?
Stubborn needs valet, please.
Oh,
please.
I'm like, why are you bringing Jeremy into this?
And then, as far as I know, I'm going to be asked to talk about the wine. The first time we went, it was friends and family, so they had included a beautiful French Bordeaux as part of the event. Second time we went was kind of a special night for us, so I took a bottle. It was a $50 corkage fee. And the last time I went for the Heat game with a buddy, we had cocktails.
Without me.
And cocktails were really, really great. I wish I remember what we had, but they were really, really enjoyable. And we had the fowl.
Shocker. Well, they also have a ventanita, which you probably won't see if you go for dinner, because I don't know what time, but I'm guessing it has daytime hours. But it's a Chuck's ventanita, so it's for the residents of all those buildings. So I'm anticipating that it's going to be really successful. And they also recently debuted a brunch, but we have not done the brunch yet. So I think it's cool when a restaurant opens, and rare when a restaurant like this opens with every duck in a row. But the only thing is, how do you level up when you start so high? Or are you making like things harder for yourself, right? Because they're right off the bat.
Well, didn't
Michael, right out of the gate.
Didn't Michael say that the vision for this restaurant was? Didn't he say to somebody that this restaurant was basically what he would have done with Ariete had he had money at the beginning? Or something?
Exactly. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So it's what I do like about this restaurant is that it's very different. Michael does a really good job of opening concepts and all them being different than each other.
Group.
I just feel like when things carry over too much, it's sort of like I could just go to the other one and it's kind of like the same dishes. I find Laurel to be extremely, very, very different than anything at Ariete. And so I enjoy both of them.
Same. And not surprisingly, they just received a Michelin nod. Michelin announced 8 restaurants in Miami that will be either in the guide, get a mention, or a bib. And Brasserie Laurel
in comparison to
included.
The current 1-star restaurants, Laurel should get a star.
Right? That's what I was going to
if
ask you what you
If you
thought.
go by what, let's put Los Felix aside. We always go back to that one, but that's fine. Even putting that one aside, given the 1-star restaurants, some of the ones, Laurel is right up there. I love it.
I agree. Up next is Eating House. Still located in Coral Gables and now on Giralda Avenue. But now it's like 5 times the original size. And for those who don't know, it's on a street that's close to the public. That Giralda Avenue has a restaurant row. And has a great vibe with people walking, strolling, and at times music. This is a tough one to review, I think. Overall, I liked the food. But if someone gave me the food and asked me to guess where it was, where the dishes were from, I would never in a million years say it reminded me of the original OG Eating House. I'm not sure where the disconnect is. It might be just maybe nostalgic on my end. That charm of the original tiny space and concept was so innovative a decade ago, and it's maybe just more common now with other little restaurants popping up. Or is it that we just have to let go of that original Eating House concept that we knew and embrace the new?
If I recall correctly, well, first of all, you were a much bigger fan of the original Eating House than I ever was.
I know, but guava and cheese torrejas.
Exactly. Don't like neither of those ingredients. But from what I remember, the original Eating House was a much more casual experience. Not only the look of the restaurant, but also the dishes.
Yeah.
And I think here with this new space, which is much bigger, much more modern, much more investment monetary wise, and so forth, they're going for a bit more of an upscale experience. And in my opinion, by doing that, they may have lost a little bit of the charm that you got from the old dishes, you know.
But I don't think the food is necessarily plated or presented up like upscale in a sense. But that's what you're thinking that they're going for.
From what I remember at the old spot, it was much more casual.
It was.
And sometimes you lose yourself in that, like and I think the mistake, if there is such thing as him making a mistake, is it the same chef? I assume so.
Yes.
Why not bring you come from an iconic. Like, people used to love you, and they still might. I'm just saying, you know, from the old spot. Why not bring some of the oldies?
He does. He does have some of the oldies.
Not the ones you were looking for.
Well, but the ones that I was looking for were from brunch, because brunch used to be but they haven't even. I don't know that they opened for brunch yet. Maybe when they do brunch, they're gonna bring it back, and then you're gonna be forced to order the torrejas with me.
I think that if that dish made him, you have to have it, whether it's brunch, dinner.
Well, it made it for me. I don't know that anybody else loved that dish, but I don't know. I think maybe that's why the space felt so large for me, because I was comparing it to the old, and maybe I just need to let go of that. But it felt void. The table's a little bit stark, industrial looking, but I suppose they did mostly nail the important part, which is the food. We started with brown butter Parker House rolls, which were spectacular.
I mean, it's hard to get that wrong, but yes,
it is hard to get that wrong, but these were spectacular. I mean, we wanted to just eat one each so that we saved room, and that did not happen. We ate them all. This one I didn't love, the foie gras torchon.
No, that wasn't.
It was. I just think it's, you know, we're a little jaded. We've seen this style of torchon before. It comes with a Sullivan Street brioche, pickled and fresh strawberries, but nothing we haven't seen before. And at $29, I don't know that it's anything for us to get again anyway. If you've never had a torchon, it's a very well done torchon. I just think it's something that you find now common in everybody's.
Dish.
This is one of my favorite dishes, though, was the sweet potatoes with jalapeno, aguachile, cilantro, and sweet and sour cashews. I fell in love with this dish. It was super weird when I saw it, but I knew I wanted to order it. It's served cold, and even though it was weird, it was oddly satisfying. And of course, I would love to throw this over the rice. Something about the sweet potatoes with that aguachile was just like refreshing, but then hearty because of the sweet potatoes, and the cashews had that little crunch. I really love that dish. And again, something I've never seen before.
Yeah, it was surprising that it was cold. It was served cold, and yeah, very satisfying.
The grilled mushrooms, Peruvian peppers, red onion, cumin, and baby mizuna. It was plated simply, just kind of thrown together, just like brown stuff on a plate. But wow, was it spectacular. Remember, we were like...
Yeah, it was great.
They put the plate and we were like, whatever. And then it had so much flavor depth, like smokiness to it. They were excellent. Again, that would go really good over rice. I'm just going to do ... to everything. Let's just put that over rice. The Amish chicken, 2 ways, grilled breast, fried thigh with a carrot hot sauce. I remain convinced someone else got my order of this chicken first because remember we waited like 30 minutes.
Yeah, there was a big gap.
There was a huge gap.
Yeah,
and we're here drinking wine, but we're like, where's
and we
the
saw
food?
one go right by.
We did.
20 minutes after, and
I think that was a misfire by someone.
It happens.
But I know. But was it worth the wait? Yes. I just don't think Eating House is going for details of like a well-plated dish. Ultimately, it's literally just 2 pieces of chicken thrown on a plate. But it's 2 damn good pieces of chicken on a plate. One is grilled, the other one's fried. And my carrot hot sauce, our carrot hot sauce, was just fire enough to enjoy that punishment of that hot sauce without like tears in my eyes. It was really enjoyable. I don't even think we brought anything home. I think we ate it all, despite eating all the bread and everything that we ate. Then we also ordered the carbonara. It's good enough. We know that Giorgio the chef is always going to knock out great pasta. That's a given. But I think at this point I might just leave the pasta part for his next door restaurant, Luca. Though, and just come here if we go back to, or when we go back to Eating House, just go back for other things. That's not the pasta. We had the carryover for dessert, the dirt cup. That's from the original restaurant, a very, very popular dessert. We had it for nostalgia purposes, but it is still a spectacular dish. It's a little pot of mud that keeps on digging. The more you dig into it, it's a dirt cup with candied hazelnut, dark chocolate, hazelnut ice cream from Crybaby Creamery, and that was excellent. And then also the potato beignets comes with vanilla ice cream and a vanilla caramel and salt. We were stuffed, but we could not stop picking at these. They are served very hot and sinful with the caramel, and I really enjoyed those, even though we were quite full.
This is just a typical weird experience where the food was very much above average, in a lot of instances excellent, but there was something about the experience that was lacking. Our server wasn't even bad, so I'm not exactly sure what it is, but this is just proof that when you go out to dinner and you're going to spend real money, which every restaurant seems to be the case now, in especially in the Miami area, you want the full experience. The food has to be on point. You want wine service to be good enough, et cetera, but you also want to walk out of there and say, I had fun tonight. And it was so weird. Like we sat in this weird table,
oh my gosh,
next
I
to
forgot
the
about
bar.
that. Right by the door. I was like the hostess. Which is fine.
I mean, it happens.
I was welcoming.
But the restaurant, when we got there, wasn't full.
Right.
Not sure why they would put us there.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's one of those restaurants that I leave thinking to myself, there's so many others I would rather return to before this one, even though the food was quite nice. It's just the experience was lacking.
I agree.
In terms of the wine, they have a very nice wine list. However, most of the bottles are not vintage appropriate. They're 2019 and newer, younger. But I see that more and more in Miami. I don't know if it's a problem with the restaurants getting some older vintages on their wine list, or it's just not cost effective to do so. One of my favorite bottles is a Darioush Syrah, and they had a 2018 for $127, which is a deal. The bottle retails for about $80, but because it was quite young, we ended up going with. Oh, and by the way, they have some massive bottles. They have like Cardinale and Promontory. Not cheap, but actually the Cardinale was $500. It's not bad for a bottle.
He curated that list himself.
It's very impressive. I mean, I wish they had some older vintages, but the wine list itself, there's some big bottles, especially on the Cabernet side. They had very little from old from Europe, but we ended up with a Burgundy. I find Burgundy is a wine that can be drank very young and is still very, very pleasing. It doesn't take that long for it to open up. Much more approachable than any Cabernet or any American Pinot that you may choose that's only a few years old. So we settled on a $100 Burgundy, which I looked it up. Yeah, I looked it up later. It retailed for I think $38 or $40, so it's not bad. It's usually 100% markup. So enjoy that very much.
And parking, we just found street parking. Right?
Yeah, it's a tricky area. I mean, it's Coral Gables, so Coral Gables will have street parking all over the place. But it's an area that if it's full, and you gotta walk. But it's fine. It's pleasant. It's Coral Gables.
I thought you said in in another episode that Coral Gables was dangerous.
No, the residential side of Coral Gables, some of the areas are not exactly. If you look at the crime rate, it's much higher than you would expect.
I'm just teasing you. I think it's safe.
Okay, well, then let's move to Coral Gables. We'll be much closer to.
Let's go. You heard it here first, people.
Okay.
Can we afford to move to Coral Gables? We would have to stop eating, though. We could only afford to move to Coral Gables and we stop dining out. I don't know.
I just want to go to Homestead and buy a farm.
Yeah.
And have my own eggs and.
Yeah, right. Okay, Niven. More on that later. All right. We are on a roll. Up next is QP Tapas. What did you think when I took you to this place? You're like, where the hell is she taking me?
Oh, it's Coral Gables.
Oh, it's also Coral Gables. That's true.
Ponce de Leon.
Brought the gun.
But that's not the point. It's Coral.
Kidding. Okay. So this is a pop-up, also in Coral Gables, inside Market Kitchen. It's a tiny, tiny space. The pop-up is only there Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturday nights. As in the name, QP and tapas. It's a mix of Japanese and Spanish tapas. Super casual, but fun, and an overall lovely spot. And just looking over the photos while I was taking notes for this review, I was craving it all over again. I will start at the end and the highlight and just say it was absolutely the paella and the okonomiyaki. Holy shit, that was delicious.
Yeah,
really,
the paella
really
was
delicious.
the paella was kind of you usually get a paella, you think that it's going to be several inches deep, and this was a very thin paella.
It's kind of like an Albeco too.
And we were 4 of us, so I thought maybe I thought to myself, well, that's pretty small, but it was so well done. And as the name implies, tapas, you're not expecting a full blown,
but we ate. We figured.
Well, we
it
ordered
out.
a lot of different.
Well, shocker, we
dishes.
over-ordered.
But
we started with
the paella was outstanding.
We started with the pan con tomate, which had a raw garlic and olive oil, and then we got the anchovies, which come with California sturgeon caviar. We got the yucas bravas, which is a play on papas bravas. So it had smoked tomato, chorizo, cotija, cheese, and an aioli. And then the okonomiyaki. For those who don't know, it's an Osaka-style savory pancake. They added sour cabbage, eggs, bonito, crunch cheese with chorizo, and just beautiful layers that kept on giving bite after bite. A little bit of that kick from the chorizo, and all sorts of delightful textures. I think I took a huge piece of it home. I think the next day, and it had and then the paella mixta. We did the Valencia inspired with chorizo. I think it's an option of mushroom, or like a vegetarian one, or chorizo. We got the chorizo one, which the mixed with chorizo, chicken thighs, shrimp, Venus clams, and a saffron aioli. Also just a beauty with that raspita at the bottom. Oof. And every bite was eventful depending on what side of the pan you took it from. The dessert was the Basque cheesecake with mango caramel. And then everyone's favorite, which was the calamansi meringue pie, which we all fought over. You don't even like meringue.
Yeah, but it was so well done.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And you were eating that. And then you found a gem, a hidden wine.
Yeah, I don't remember what we had, but I
don't have a picture, and I'm so mad.
We got there, and the couple was already there, and they had already ordered a bottle of wine. And then I looked at the wine list and wasn't all that, impressed by it in terms of, oh my God, I need to have a certain bottle. So I left it alone. And halfway through the first bottle, the place has a lot of bottles standing up on these shelves. I saw just a bottle. I don't remember what it was. I know it was a Cabernet, which I don't usually drink anymore, but it's one that I wanted to try for quite a bit. And I asked her, and it wasn't on the list, and she came back with a price, and we ordered it, and yeah, we had a nice second bottle at what I thought was a decent price at a establishment. So
yeah, so it should be interesting to follow this project and see where it goes, if they move to a permanent location or how long this pop-up lasts.
But this is a perfect example of a spot, small. So you get there and there's a vibe, right? And maybe that's what was missing at a much larger eating house establishment, is the idea that that just the amount of people in a room creating some buzz and some loud
those
conversation and they had the doors open, whatever. But anyway, so maybe that's what eating house was missing. I don't know, but this place had character. We talked to the people sitting next to us for a bit. I did. The staff was extremely friendly, and it worked. It worked.
Oh yeah, they even had a mishap. I think halfway through the ticket thing machine stopped working. We never even knew it.
Yeah,
they just kept chugging along. So get to this one soon because we don't know what's gonna happen with this one yet.
I agree.
So yeah. So all right. Up next, let's talk about Rancho Patel. I just posted about this one. I usually don't post about these until I talk about it on the podcast, but we were behind, so I just went ahead and did this. I was blown away by this Florida farm to table experience. I expected good food, of course, but I wasn't ready for it to be a full-on polished culinary journey.
This is one of the better experiences I've ever had, and we've been to a lot of these type of things in California and in New York. This was amazing.
The dinner reservation includes if you don't know, Rancho Patel is in Homestead, and it's in the home of Chef Niven Patel from Ghee and Orno. And so he's been hosting about once a month, I think, a basically like a cookout in his house. And it's private residence, but you get your ticket and then you get the address. And the ticket includes a welcome cocktail plus a selection of red and white wine and beer. And we had, within like seconds, right? Like we were literally there, checked in. We had a cocktail, and I already had a smoked fish pizza snack. It just magically appeared before I had even seen where the table was.
Yeah, and let's point out the fact that it's not just beer. This guy, you could tell the detail. I don't know if it was a tripping animal.
It was tripping animals. It's a collaboration.
He could have very easily served you, some Publix IPA or whatever, and it was a really nice hazy IPA from Triple Animal. I had that. I think you had the cocktail.
Yes.
So anyway, details.
Many details throughout. The seating is communal style, but it's assigned. A team of hosts cheerfully greeted us and escorted us to our table right on time. I didn't know that you could get there a lot earlier and kind of forage for some of the ingredients. So when we go back to one, we need to do that. Just arrive like maybe 30 minutes earlier. So maybe that's why the pace was perfect right when we got there. Each place setting was personalized with a custom menu and handwritten notes. And once seated, there was a beautiful bounty of glorious vegetables on the table already. I think the place setting was set with fresh strawberries that we got to take home in a little bag, in a little basket. The service was nonstop, courteous, knowledgeable, professional. It was like it is staffed by...
they're his restaurant people.
Right, it's his staff. But I don't know why the whole time I was just thinking, well, this is like a picnic, right? We're going to get picnic ware. It's just going to be paper plates. And it was not that at all. It was the service as you would get in a restaurant.
Yeah, they had at the house. They had two very long tables, about 100-foot tables each, underneath a kind of like a tarp, a very nice looking tarp that provided shade, and obviously. Fans. And they had fans, and they had these huge ice buckets at the end of each of those 100-foot tables where the waiters would go in and grab their waters and their white wines and their red wines, and everything was synchronized to perfection. I think just the initial plate. First of all, there was never a shortage of food. A lot of times you go to these places, right, and it's communal, which can be rough because you don't know who you're sitting with and the sharing part of it. But there was so much food.
I think everything was shared per four guests.
Yeah, but the amount of food,
right? But it was enough. That's what I mean. It wasn't like a platter for 6 people.
And by the way, this initial vegetable plate, I urge you to go to the Whet Palette's social media. I don't know where she posted these pictures.
Everywhere, it's everywhere.
Just this vegetable plate alone.
I have never shoveled so much ridiculous salad and vegetables down my throat.
Well, the salad with the strawberries were just ridiculous.
With like a poppy seed dressing. It ended up being a 10-course meal, and it included lamb, octopus, wagyu steak, and golden towfish. And as expected, as he said, all combined with the most beautiful rainbow array of fresh vegetables. I have yet to stop talking about it. I just can't stop talking about them.
We already booked the next one.
So. And we are booked for the next one. Yeah, we're going to the last one. Dinnerware was reset between the first and second courses, and then the third course arrived pre-plated. So I definitely did not expect changing plates. I asked one of the girls that came by, I was like, can I please get a new plate? And she just looked at me and says, everyone's getting a new plate. I was like, what? So that's pretty cool. So it's not like we're new to a genuine farm to table concept to be so like impressed by this, but it's just how he has taken this concept and taken it and elevated it. And it performed better than a lot of restaurants in Miami.
Oh, yeah. No,
overall.
Those
are facts.
He has a really nice outside kitchen set up for himself.
Yes.
So you can watch him work, which is pleasant. You can walk around the farm and see, the plantings, and which is nice. It's fun. They had these high-end portable bathrooms.
Oh yeah, with air conditioning.
Yeah,
classical music.
Yeah,
and
it's
air freshener.
It's kind of like it's 4 bathrooms in one structure that you could see has a hitch, so it gets carried by a truck, and then they hook it up to electricity, and you get the AC. And yeah, it's 4 bathrooms, bigger than any plain bathroom.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, AC'd. Clean
everything, napkins, toilet papers.
Yeah,
everything.
They must have gone in there very often to clean them out. Just a really, really good way to put an event together. And given the price, it is one of the best values. It's not cheap, but I'm telling you, it is by far one of the best values you can find anywhere in the country for this type of...
And it's a different experience. It's a very Florida experience, which I love highlighting the Florida bounty. And I think it's what you said, which is like it's a mini version of Blue Hill at Stone Barns. But I said with food I'm actually craving.
It's a different concept, but
obviously a different concept, yes.
But yeah, it's outstanding. I actually compare it more to the old Chiarello Napa events that we used to go to with the long tables and him cooking for everybody. Same kind of concept, the chef owner
like
at his house.
Harvest California event.
Right. And we used to love those, obviously, going to Chiarello's house. And I think that this was right there.
Yeah, that's true.
With that. So yeah, I can't wait to go back.
All right.
And I should probably add that if Blue Hill Farms has a Michelin, right? They do?
Yeah.
I don't see why this... now, this is not a restaurant,
well,
right?
It's not
so
a
I'm
restaurant.
not sure.
It's not consistent. It's only seasonal. Like, he's taking a break now for summer, and he'll start again.
I don't know. But
if it was called, like, Orno Rancho Patel or Rancho Orno or Ghee or something, like, if he would tie it into a restaurant, then maybe.
Well, level of food, service, and everything else being offered is Michelin worthy.
Yeah. All right. Up next, Beauty and the Butcher. I'm just going to call this episode the Coral Gables episode.
That's true.
I mean, most of them are from Coral Gables. This one is by Chef Jeremy Ford of Michelin Starred, Stubborn Seed, and Butcher's Club in Palm Beach Gardens, which we reviewed on episode 9. Fun fact, the restaurant is named after his older daughter, Madeline, and she happened to be there when we went. That was such a nice surprise. She was working the door and hustling guests left and right, and it was just heartwarming to see Ford come by and interact with her in between.
So she's a butcher?
No, she's the beauty. What, do you think Jeremy's the beauty?
Right. No? Oh, okay.
No. He's the butcher. She's the beauty. And it was definitely a hands-on experience for her. That was an unexpected highlight, I think, of our dinner. We were lucky to also visit for friends and family for this one. But that one was too small of a glimpse, I think, for us. Maybe too soon to have visited and get the whole experience. So we definitely waited several months and finally returned. And we had what I think was a kick-ass meal. Can we say kick-ass? Is that like passe to say kick-ass?
Holy shit, was that a
was
meal?
That a good meal? Yeah. So are we still full? This was Friday. This was a week ago.
I don't know if... Well, we could pretty much review the entire menu, right? Because I think we had it all.
Well, we could just, go touch on... I have it here, but we don't have to talk about all of it. But I think one of the overall things I noticed is how ambitious of a project it is. And I mean, it could be, it's a little worrisome because the space is large, and it's going to be a challenge to function at the level that they're targeting with so many seats, because the dishes are not just thrown together. He's not just going to throw a chicken on a plate. They have tableside presentations and intricate plating and a lot of things that are absolutely time consuming. And then when you multiply by the amount of tables and covers that they're doing, I don't know. Unless they maybe move to like a tasting menu format. I don't know. But I know that on Friday, we felt like it was finding its groove now. Dim lighting. It helped make that large space feel more quaint, like you were saying. The music was also a big deal. It was 90s and 2000s R&B and hip hop playlist. It was giving, like the young kids say now. Yeah. Have you heard that? It's giving.
Yeah, I heard.
It's giving what? But it was giving. It was for sure was. Everyone was, you could tell, like dancing, and it really added to the vibe. I don't know about you, but I kept chair dancing, and besides the good food, of course. So I know it's shocking, but we over-ordered, and
we didn't over-order.
Over-ate. So all of the breads are made in-house, outstanding. They were crusty and hot and buttered and beautiful. Started with, I have to list every single bread. We had a lot of bread. Let's just say that.
Yeah, it was bread heavy.
It was bread heavy, but I'm not complaining. And we did do a beautiful tray of a house-made cured duck prosciutto, which came with on top of warm marinated olives. And then we had the presentation with the cinco jotas. We basically did like a preview of like a tasting menu, which is not official yet. So maybe that's why there was just a lot of food. So it was the cinco jotas jamón ibérico de bellota, which, if you know, it's like one of the best. And the insane organic chicken liver mousse. It basically came with a lot of presentations of a lot of spreads to go with all that bread. The Osetra caviar service. The Osetra caviar service, which comes with a chive pizzelle and a smoked paprika cream spread as well. The crudo was one of maybe like not one of the highlights, I think, because everything else was so like big and bold on flavors. The signature dish, which he's never going to be able to take out of the menu, that foie gras and winter truffle tart. Remember that?
Yeah.
With the green apple jelly and the pine nuts, the papas bravas, the charred octopus. That was a surprise because it's kind of done like Peruvian style with ají amarillo. It's like the charred octopus anticucho. That was very enjoyable. Again, a busy presentation, which it's great, and then you're going to do it for a bunch of tables, and it could get time consuming, but it was great. The highlight, the big star, which is the slow smoked beef rib, which came with winter pickled vegetables, and it was dreamy. I think I saw like 5 tables with it, even though they told me it's limited nightly, so you might get there at some point and have it be gone. But it's popular for a reason. Is
that the one that we basically couldn't really get to it and brought home?
We tried.
We tried a piece and then
yes.
Yeah, for me the initial charcuterie, I guess you could. Was pretty.
The bread, the spreads, the jamón ibérico,
yeah, it was
the caviar.
Pretty amazing in terms of the size. It was filling. That was a great way if you have some time to go to dinner and you can spend more than 2-3 hours at a place. That's a great way to start because you can spend a good 30-40 minutes eating off that.
Oh, yeah.
And the first 2 were my favorite, which was the charcuterie board and then followed by that organic liver mousse. Yeah. That I could have had 10 of those.
Yeah, and we also, funny enough, we did have that at Friends and Family, and that was still a favorite.
Insane.
Really insane. And then for dessert, I am obsessing over Anna's dessert. She's the pastry chef, and I have to say I have really enjoyed seeing her progress and development since she was at Stubborn. When Dallas left, she had taken over at Stubborn, and little by little her voice is now really strong and loud. And if she does not add that new mamey dessert to the menu, I'm gonna have a tantrum. We tried her tropical coconut flan, which has a pineapple salsa. I have to say it's actually dairy free. I don't know how. Comes with a coconut sorbet because it's so creamy. You think there's like a lot of cream in there, but super creamy and dense, amazing. And then we also tried the Butcher's Sundae, which is a salted caramel ice cream with banana sorbet, brownie, passion fruit, and peanuts. But the killer, it was the mamey sticky pudding with an orange and cream cheese ice cream. And it's served in these individual little metal aluminum pots. And I was so full. Even you didn't even care about my mamey.
No, it was outstanding.
And it was so good.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that this will be this one stays at on the menu.
I'm sure. I'm sure. Let's see.
Anything else to add?
Yeah, we ordered again. Not the heaviest wine list with older vintages. So again, when I tip of the day, if you go to a restaurant and all of the wine seems to be young, always go with a Burgundy or a Chateauneuf, which is basically a Rhone area wine. You're never gonna go wrong, even if it's just a couple of years old. And we had a nice Chateauneuf that night. Wine service was good as always, as expected. Parking is somewhat easy. That block is busy because
down the street from Fiola.
Right, you got Fiola right
reference.
there. So, but if you just go one block over in either direction, you're gonna have plenty of street parking, and there is valet on the side of it as well, if you wanted to valet. So, yeah, Jeremy's definitely found his groove in this restaurant.
Yeah. And then we're not gonna review it, but we also went to Butcher's Club 2 days after this one, and we already reviewed Butcher's Club. But wow, yes. So when we say that him and his team are really finding their groove at Butcher's Club and Beauty and the Butcher, like all the teams are finally like gelling and coming together.
Oh, Butcher's Club,
yeah,
the steakhouse in Palm Beach,
right? Which we already reviewed before, but just for comparison, it was a Jeremy weekend.
Yeah, but for those of you that didn't hear our podcast. Oh, it's our podcast.
Oh, wow.
Just know that Jeremy has a steakhouse in PGA Boulevard in Palm Beach Gardens. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful spot inside a very fancy hotel. Great steak, great service is expected. Just a beautiful space. And,
great everything.
You know, we have friends up there, so...
they haven't stopped talking about it.
Yeah.
She messaged me and she says she cannot get over what an experience she had.
Yeah.
For her birthday. So, all right. One more restaurant and we're done. Dun, dun, dun. Let's talk about the Tambourine Room.
Let's talk about the Michelin star.
Wait, do you think Tambourine Room will be the next 2-star restaurant in Miami?
Well...
2. Do you think the Michelin guy will be a wild card?
The answer is, and I don't know the criteria, are they deserving after opening only for such a short period of time? But if they qualify... and the chef comes from the pedigree that you say he comes from, just on the food, the service, the experience alone, it is worthy of, in Florida, right? If you're comparing it to the only other 2 Michelin star restaurant, which is Robuchon, it qualifies, in my opinion. Well, and we're going back soon, so we'll hope they can duplicate the experience,
well,
which is important.
We've established Michelin does whatever the hell they want, and they do whatever rules they want. But in the last 6 months, I've actually heard of them awarding multiple restaurants that recently opened 2 stars, which is
in other states.
Yeah, in other states. So I had never heard that before. Usually, I thought it had to do with, you want the consistency, and they talk about the consistency often. But
I mean, if they open, I think they're definitely getting one.
For sure. What are they going to get, a bib?
And if they open up with 2, there's going to be a lot of pissed off people if they don't get 2 themselves.
I feel like it might be like a little wild card too, if they want to throw a monkey wrench.
Listen, you can be pissed off, but you got to go for yourself and experience it, and then you can have an opinion. You can't just be upset because they just opened.
I agree. These guys, these chefs, these German chefs came to play. They came to play and slay. They do check all the boxes. For when we went that first time, it successfully delivered a glowing experience with just a team of 3 in the kitchen. It's located at the Carillon Hotel. It's hiding behind these 2 nondescript double doors. When we got there, we were asked to wait in the lounge area for a reservation time. They have 2 seatings. Our seating was 8:30, and right on time of our reservation, we got escorted by the host. I am a sucker for memorabilia and Miami history, so I really enjoyed right outside. There's a couple of display cases, and it has menus, matches, stationery, hotel receipts, everything from the Carillon's past. And so it is said, and this is important because the name Tambourine is said that it used to be a speakeasy bar right where this restaurant is now called, and it was called Tambourine Room, or so they said. Whether they made that up or not, I have no proof. But I have to admit that them embracing the hotel's history scored major brownie points for me right away. It's a narrow room. It's very small, but very, very designed and decorated. It holds just about 6 two-tops and one large table for 6. Even though it was very small, it felt really grand. They have a glass bricked wall, and I guess that gave off the illusion of maybe it being a little bigger. And it has touches of muted gold, navy leather chairs, sleek wood floors, and a lot of touches with overlapping circular light fixtures, which it's a nod to the geometrics of a tambourine. My napkin and silverware placement, they were presented and replaced in the same way in an angle. Remember, we thought that was really weird, but it actually makes sense because of the way that you have to see my pictures, the way you pick up the fork and knife. It actually makes sense. You just pick it up right away, the way that they place it in an angle. Let's see what else. The music, it was the Beach Boys, the Supremes, Diana Ross, the Drifters. Aquí no hay tiki tiki. So even though it is a fancy and expensive tasting menu, this is they're again a nod to the golden age in Miami Beach. And I don't know, I can't recall a time where I felt so inspired to gush about a dinner so quickly after we dined there, right? For us,
yeah.
Even as we were going through it, we're like, wow.
I mean, well, I guess you'll talk about the 2 editions that we.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not that we were expecting, everything was in harmony. It's not that we were expecting hiccups or looking for faults, or maybe we were, but it was more like there was warm hospitality and genuine care for like the smallest detail. There was like a water drop from an overly condensed glass. Someone was there to like clean it up right away. If there was a little breadcrumb, that disappeared before I even
you love
noticed.
fine dining, and this was as close to fine dining as you're gonna get, because Robuchon is a counter, so there's only so much they can do for you as a service over a very uncomfortable counter at that, with that such a small opening. Mm-hmm. This is so this is as close as you're gonna get to your per se's and your the restaurants that you love.
But besides that, it had everything to do with every plate. Like, not only was every plate a stunner, but not just on looks. It was rich. The dishes were rich and savory. They hit all the right notes. Each one just kept me interested. Every bite, there was nothing that was like, that I wouldn't order. Like, we really enjoyed everything. For starters, they started with these 2 little snacks. And again, it was an ode to the golden days of the 50s and 60s. One was like a mini toast Hawaii. And the other one was a little lobster roll. Those 2, which were very popular in the 50s and 60s. And then the little dish with a little hand twist, open to reveal a lower secret compartment holding sweet and spicy crispy pecans. And again, like a nice little touch. Then we had an amuse-bouche. It was a light dish with soft-boiled eggs. I'm not going to get into everything like in detail. You have to go and like read and see the pictures and everything because we'll be here forever. But there were 5 main courses. They were very well sized. We did not leave hungry. Not that we ever leave hungry. I think that would be a first whenever that happens. And they were basically a tuna dish, tomato, a scallop dish, cod, and a Wagyu beef dish. I don't remember if it was Australian Wagyu. I think it was Australian Wagyu. I found it tough to choose a favorite. And each one, again, was intricate without compromising the main ingredient. And then because it's us, we added 2 additions that they have as option. One was a beef tartare and the other was a homemade pasta. The homemade pasta I think I could have done without. It was a good pasta.
Again, babysitting's not easy to come by. It's not an everyday thing, so we wanted to experience the whole thing in case we weren't going back anytime soon.
True.
Those 2 additions will set you back almost $300. 200. I think both of them together is 240.
Really? No.
250. Oh yeah, because the caviar one was.
I don't think it was 300.
I said almost in the 240 range.
Okay. I have to double check that, but yes. So, but the beef tartare one, that I think was my favorite.
Is that the caviar one?
Yes, that's his signature
that was the best
dish. It's a Petrosian caviar top tartare. It comes with these sourdough crisps that you use to scoop up the caviar. We shared it, to be honest. We shared it as a party of 2, but it's enough to share for a party of 4. It's that we like, it's us. We definitely.
Well, I mean, again, we wanted to try it, and it only comes in one size.
I know that is true.
And the pasta, like you said, we've had similar or better, but again, you're there, wanted to try it.
But if you have a choice of the 2 and you can only get one, absolutely do the beef tartare. And then to transition into the dessert course, I love this. It was a sparkling pina colada sorbet, another Miami Beach touch, like a playful one. And then they called it a sparkling pina colada sorbet. And I soon realized what they meant by sparkling when I felt and heard a light fizzing in my mouth. And I thought maybe I was just drunk. And I started to imagine things. And I asked him, like, do you hear that? And I opened my mouth. Remember that?
Yeah.
And it was like a tiny bit.
Kind of cool.
Like, kind of like Pop Rocks. Not overly done and like a little gimmicky, but they don't really have a lot of gimmicky things. This was like a little touch. But it was fun. It was mixed into the dessert. It was like Pop Rocks. And kind of like reinvigorated our senses before leading us to the finale, which was a main dessert, banana chocolate with cashew accents. And it was just very nice. Oh, and then they brought that tray with the mignardise, the little chocolates and
kind of like
cookies.
French Laundry
Kind of like French Laundry's little tray of goodies for you to pick from. And it always makes you feel like a kid, like, oh, I get to choose from those.
Yeah, overall
really
it was a almost a mind-blowing experience in the sense that I didn't expect to walk into this place and I didn't even know that it was that quote-unquote fine dining experience. I loved it. Couple negatives. Wine list is not online. It continues to be not online. I checked today. How do you go to a restaurant like this without knowing, not only what's being offered, but at what price point? So we did take a beautiful bottle of Sinquanon. When we went, they have a $75 corkage fee, which is reasonable for a bottle. Obviously, if you're going to do that, take a bottle that's worth $75 corkage fee. So we took a beautiful bottle and checked today. And the lady said, yeah, we've been meaning to put our wine list online. And as of today, it's still not there. So I guess when we go back, if it's still not there, we'll take wine again. Because, again, how do you show up to a restaurant? And then the other negative for me, which is not negative, I mean, it is what it is that I don't like to eat late. I'm not one of those old men that wants to eat at 5, but because of
but you would love eating at 5.
Because of our lives, our lifestyle, and what we have to get done in the morning. I wake up pretty much at 5 a.m., 5:30 a.m. every morning, Monday through Sunday, and they have the first seating is only a 3.
Right, at 6 o'clock.
At 6 o'clock, I guess it's a 3-course.
A 3-course, that's it.
So, if you want to do the full experience, you have to show up at
8:30.
8:30. So 8:30.
It's pretty brutal.
8:30 is late for us, especially.
And we drive from Broward.
Right.
So you have to add an hour going to and
So this basically adds about an hour and a half to our experience, and it cuts into my already 5 hours of sleep at night, or 6 hours But that's about it as far as the negatives. Everything else to me was just spot on, and I can't wait to go back.
So overall, Tambourine Room offers a luxurious fine dining journey similar to those we've experienced at 2 Michelin-starred kitchens. The vibe is relaxed and friendly. The food and service are taken very seriously. The entire team is hyper-focused while you're dining on the overall guest experience, and they strive to perform at their best. If you prefer, side note, your steak delivered in a suitcase surrounded by sparklers and Bad Bunny tunes about being VIP, this is not the place for you. So, dine at Tambourine if you're a food enthusiast who loves, appreciates, and respects the art of cooking with and without the need for selfies. That last part is up to you. Take a selfie. That's it for today. I am very excited for this season 2 to kick off. I have a wonderful list of guests and topics which we will be discussing in the upcoming season, so I cannot wait to reveal what those are. I will also be debuting my Michelin predictions episode very, very soon, and I know I keep getting asked about that one. That's going to be a hot one. So from now until then, just thank you for following. Please visit me on my social media. I am on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and also on TikTok. You can send me an email at thewhetpalette@gmail.com. And that's it for today. Until then, thanks for listening. Goodbye.